secondary sanctions like the latest announced by President Trump on Venezuela. How can businesses navigate if these announcements come into effect? Well, joining us for this conversation now, we have Amanda Wolverton. This is a global marketing executive. Great to have you on the show. Good morning. Thank you for joining so early there.
Area from Paris.
Oh, you're in Paris right now. Last time we spoke, you were in Miami. So, yeah,
exactly.
It's Paris
Local.
today. Thank you so much for joining. So, looking at what's playing out, in the global economy right now, how should businesses, hedge against the risk of secondary sanctions like the one we're seeing for the announcement with Venezuela? And, this would definitely cause jitters, in the global economy. What do you think is that hedge right now?
Absolutely. I think the businesses need to think long term and hard about what they can prepare for what's coming in their way, especially for businesses in Nigeria. There are a couple of potential risks they need to hedge against. The first one is potential hit to the oil price. The export of oil is a major revenue stream for Nigeria, constitutes about 80% of your total exports. There is a potential with the tariff war, and the demand, global demand might decrease. Therefore, there might be a hit to the oil price in the near future. So this is something we should think about how we can prepare for this risk and play the what-if scenario. What if the oil price drop under, for example, $60? What should we do? The second piece of risk that we need to be prepared for is the currency, hedging against a currency, especially for US dollars. We need to use potential financial tools such as forward contract and potentially a currency swap to prepare for the potential increase in the or potential further discrepancy in the exchange rate. So this is something that is coming in our way. We need to really think strategically how we can be prepared for these risks. And in addition, I think that internally for businesses, we need to think about how we could potentially diversify either our suppliers or our customers from the area that is potentially getting hit by tariff, which could increase either our cost or increase or decrease the demand for our products. And finally, I think you talk about how to drive efficiency and drive down costs. That's also essential.
All right, so definitely businesses have a lot to think about, going into the second quarter, of 2025. April 2nd, we're all counting down, to that. But do you think free trade agreements are a reliable escape from, most of these tariffs?
I think it's a partial relief from the pressure from the potential tariff wars, but it's not a silver bullet. Especially, I think we talk about the major ones, for example, the African continent free trade area. In theory, it is a great opportunity and potential. We should think about how we could potentially leverage that more effectively than what we have done in 2024. For example, in 2024, the intra-Africa trade only constitutes a single-digit percentage to the total trade, or increase only 3.4% growth versus the 20% target, which means we could potentially leverage, drive that, or realize that potential more effectively. But it is not a silver bullet. It's not going to solve the problem. We need a major infrastructure, a policy upgrade to make that potential reality.
Right, and Amanda, I know you're quite passionate about startups. Looking at fundraising for 2025, do you think these tariff wars are kind of a risk brewing for fundraising in 2025 for startups?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that number one, I'm super passionate about startups, And then I know Nigeria has a very vibrant startups ecosystem. So congratulations. In 2024, we have done more than 200 deals. But going forward, there might be a potential risk to that funding to startups because the uncertainties in the global economy. So investors are less likely to either invest in external markets or the markets that they find they might shift their focus from to more the startups solving pain points in supply chain management, logistics to avoid tariffs. So there might be a shift in startup investment, and then there might be more cautious approach in terms of startup investment. But there are opportunities. So I have seen quite a few startups right now are focusing on supply chain management as well as strategies to optimize the tariff situation. So if you're interested in this area in terms of supply chain strategies and how to optimize the global tariff situation, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I probably could give a couple of tools and companies to provide help to the business in Nigeria.
Right. Definitely everyone needs some kind of guidance, at this point. But it's always great to have your perspective. Amanda Wolverton is a global marketing executive. Thank you for coming on today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Right.